Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to have some fun. But first, let's review what we did in Lesson 1. In Lesson 1, we learned all about the open strings of the ukulele, the musical alphabet, how to read tablature, and how to use a tuner. Before we move forward, let's review some of that really quickly. Ukuleles have 4 strings. Each string has a number and a corresponding pitch that's a letter from the musical alphabet. This is string number 1, or the A string, string number 2, or E, string number 3, or C, and finally, this is string number 4, the low G or high G string, depending on how your particular instrument is set up. I have a low G on my tenor-sized ukulele. You may have a high G on your soprano or your concert ukulele. As I'm sure you recall, this is what tablature or tabs looks like. It has 4 lines, each one representing a different string of the ukulele. The top line is string number 1. The line underneath that corresponds to string number 2. The line underneath that one corresponds to string number 3. And the bottom line corresponds to string number 4. In Lesson 1, we only use the right hand to strum or pluck open strings. That's why all the numbers on the tablature are 0. 0 means open string, or no left hand fingering. In this lesson, we'll be adding the left hand into the mix so we can start playing some actual music. Just like the strings have corresponding numbers, so do the fingers of your left hand, and these metal bars going across the neck of your instrument, these are called frets. As far as the fingers of the left hand go, the index finger is number 1, the middle finger is 2, the ring finger is 3, and the pinky is 4. Although there are always exceptions, we do not use the thumb of the left hand for the most part on string instruments like ukuleles or guitars. So the thumb does not have a number. For those of you with a piano background, a slight mental hurdle to get over is the finger number situation. Piano players refer to the index finger as finger number 2 because they refer to the thumb as finger number 1. Just remember that we're not using our thumb, so the index finger is 1, middle's 2, ring is 3, pinky is 4. The frets are also numbered starting here with fret 1, and they go up sequentially as you go up the fretboard. Fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, etc., etc. Many ukuleles will have dots or some kind of design or inlay on certain frets to be used as visual markers. Most of the time, you will see marks on fret 3, 5, 7, 10, and 12. Go ahead and take a look at your ukulele for a minute and make a mental note of which frets have visual markers. They're there to make your life easier. When we use the fingers of our left hand to press on a string, we don't press directly on the fret, we press slightly to the left of the fret in order to obtain an ideal sound. Let's go ahead and try that. I'd like you to put your first finger of the left hand, your index finger, on the first fret of the first string like this. Not on the fret, next to the fret. Make sure your finger is nice and curved. Press hard. And then with the thumb of your right hand, pluck the same string that your finger is already on. You can also use the thumb of your left hand to squeeze together against your finger, kind of like you're pinching together, in order to get more pressure on the string, like this. Let's take a look at that same note written on tablature. Remember that in tablature, each line corresponds to a different string. Anything written on the top line will correspond to string number 1, which is the string that we're currently playing. If I see the number 1 written on the top line like this, that means I have to go to fret 1 of the first string and pluck it with my right hand like we've been doing. How do I know which finger of the left hand to use? Excellent question. I'm glad you asked. Left hand finger numbers will be written underneath the tablature. So what we see here is fret 1 on the first string because there's a number 1 written on the top line, and we will be playing that note with our first finger on the left hand because there is a number 1 written beneath the one that is written on the line. There's a 1 on the line that says fret 1, and then beneath that there's a 1 that indicates finger 1. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, please go back and watch this lesson again, because this is the way that we're going to communicate music for the rest of the course. Tablature. Now let's practice reading some notes in tablature and make sure that we understand how to navigate the instrument properly. Example number 1 has 3 notes. Notice that all 3 of these notes are written in horizontal sequence. That means that they are played one at a time. We read music just like we read books, left to right. Also, notice that all 3 of these notes are written on the top line. As I'm sure you recall, that means that they are all played on string number 1, the A string. The first note says 0. 0 means we pluck the string without any left hand. It's just an open string like this. The next note says 3 on the line with a number 1 written beneath it. Remember, because the number is written on the top of the line, it will be played on string number 1. The 3 indicates the 3rd fret, and the number 1 beneath the line indicates the 1st finger, the index finger. Go ahead and put your finger on that, like this. Make sure your finger is curved and pressing hard. Now, with the right hand, use your thumb to pluck it with me, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. The 3rd note in example 1 is also written on the top line, meaning that it's also on string number 1. You'll see that there is a number 5 written on the line and a number 3 written below the line. We're going to play the 5th fret with the 3rd finger or the ring finger on the 1st string. Let's play that note together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play the whole example 1 together. I'll count to 4, and then we'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's take a look at example number 2. Example number 2 looks a lot like example number 1. The only difference is that it's written on the bottom line instead of the top line. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. That means that it's played on the 4th string or the G string. Go ahead and give that a try. Here's example 2. Let's play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice job. Now let's take a look at example number 3. Example number 3 also has 3 pitches. This time, all 3 pitches are written on different lines, which means that they will be played on different strings. The first note, or pitch, is written on the 2nd line from the bottom, indicating that it's on string number 3, or the C string. Notice that the number written on the line is 4, indicating fret number 4. And beneath the 4, the number 2 is written indicating the 2nd finger or the middle finger. So let's go ahead and put our middle finger on fret number 4 of the 3rd string. Make sure we're pressing hard and our fingers curved. Use the thumb of your right hand to pluck the 3rd string. Give that a shot, just like this. Now let's look at the next note of example 3. There's a 3 written on the 2nd line from the top with a 1 written below it. That tells us that we're going to put our index finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string like this. Make sure you're pressing hard enough and your fingers are curved. Use the right thumb to pluck the same string that your finger is on, like this. Okay, we have one more note in example 3. There's a 0 written on the top line, indicating an open 1st string. So we don't need any fingers on the left hand because we're just plucking the 1st string with our right hand, like we've already done before. 0 indicates an open string, so there's nothing with the left hand. That explains why there's no finger number below the line. We do not need the left hand for this note. Go ahead and play that. Nice. Finally, see if you can play all 3 notes in sequence. It will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Because the main goal of this exercise is to learn how to read tablature and communicate like a ukulele player, make sure that you are using the correct finger on the correct fret of the correct string. Okay, now that we've learned how to navigate the instrument and how to read tablature, I'd like you to use your tab reading skills to learn the warm-up exercise and the song Strollin' in your workbook. I want you to try to apply your new skills and tools before I walk you through this explicitly. Don't worry if you're having trouble, but also don't be surprised if you impress yourself. I will play these for you at the beginning of the next lesson, but please try to learn them on your own before you watch me. The whole goal of this is to make sure that you know how the communication process works with tablature and your instrument. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I will see you next time.